So a lot of things have been happening in the world of graded trading cards over the past couple of weeks, and in today's video we're going to take a look at a few of those different going-ons, including, but certainly not limited to, the return of $18 per card pricing and why that's significant to the overall graded card community. But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about a bunch of different updates from PSA. A couple of reasons why I do PSA as opposed to any of the other different graded trading card companies that exist out there. One, PSA is still one of, if not the largest graded trading card grader type business out there, and so while BGS, CGC, SGC are some great competitors and tons of other competitors have risen seemingly out of nowhere over the past few years, PSA still remains one of the largest giants in the industry, and that is unlikely to change anytime soon. The other thing is that I think PSA, given its scale and size, is an excellent bellwether for the rest of the environment. So what's happening with PSA is likely also happening with folks like CGC, BGS, etc., etc. And so because PSA does a good job of kind of making some of the stuff publicly available, we have the benefit of taking what's happening with PSA and seeing how it may be impacting the entire graded trading card space as a whole. The other thing is, my collection is mainly PSA, so given that, I do also like to look at PSA for that specific reason as well, given that I have a vested interest in the going-ons of PSA specifically as a brand, as opposed to any other. So, with all that said, before we get started, definitely feel free to leave a like on today's video if you enjoyed today's content. And hey, if you're not already and you really think I earned it, you can also consider subscribing to help support the Gengar Gang. It's been a minute since I made a video, not gonna lie, it's like a little return out of thin air. A lot of random things, just life getting in the way and busy stuff, but I did want to get back on the grind, especially going into the second half of the year, and kind of get back to my normal 3 times a week. I was also sick and I sounded like a frog, so that was a huge reason why I did not want to get on and make some videos if I was going to sound weird. But I think I'm almost back to normal now, so with that said, let's go right on into it. So, couple of things. The best way that I have usually gone about getting some news about graded cards is the PSA Customer Communication Center. This was launched during the pandemic, basically says like, hey, here are some cool new updates that we have. And as you can see, kind of in line with the videos that I've put out, they were kind of farther apart, but PSA started some updates in May and then a couple in June, so actually pretty impressive. So, first things first, PSA returned the economy level service. This was $50 per card for all Collectors Club members. Collector Club is PSA's paid subscription service. You basically pay $100, you get a year's worth of access to different things, including this $50 economy service. Now, in the past, the economy service was something that also was available at a cheaper price point for everybody, but now PSA has locked it behind a Collectors Club access level, so you'll have to pay the $100 just to be able to grade at this price point, and the price itself of $50 has actually gone up. I believe the old economy level service was something less than $20 per card. So there is that, and you can see that one of the main reasons they've chosen to do this is because we're tracking to be finished with the backlog by early fall, and so the intention is, because they know that they're going to be almost basically done with the backlog of cards, because they shut down and gave themselves the ability to do so while simultaneously hiring many new graders to be able to grade that many cards, they're now going to begin the process of opening up some of their businesses and reducing prices to help encourage new grading submissions coming in and thereby keeping their business going. And this is something that I observed and I pointed out a little bit earlier on. It just made business sense, right? Much of what PSA and any grading company did was they opened up, they got a ton of cards, especially during the peak of the popularity and the craziness and Logan Paul and this and that. And then, almost as if by magic, they got so flooded that PSA had to shut down. Once PSA shut down, BGS got piped down, and then so did CGC. Almost so badly that both of them had to severely raise their prices to dissuade people from submitting cards, and then at a certain point start rejecting new submissions because they simply did not have the bandwidth to finish it. So this is the first indicator that things are coming back to normal, and I think $50 is still kind of a measure used to try to deter people. So this is deterrent pricing, where they're pricing it at $50 knowing not everyone's going to submit every modern trading card, because again, they had a backlog and they're still really busy. They have to turn away business. That's how good things are for them right now. Next up was the update on 6/9/2022, and this was that PSA is pleased to announce the return of its value service level at $30 a card. Now what's interesting is I made a video about prices going back down to normal, and when I saw news of this break, I thought it was a very important moment in the quote-unquote return to normal for grading trading cards in that entire process, because again, we saw a lot of shutting down, a lot of, hey, we can't grade your cards anymore, and part of that is on blame or on fault by the collectors, because a lot of people realized during the craziness of it all that you could grade modern trading cards, and shockingly enough, you could make a pretty decent profit on them. And as a result, there was a lot of cards submitted at these uber cheap price points. Think $8, $9, $10 a card, because they were submitted in bulk, and it was still a very profitable venture. Not to mention the fact that folks were usually not submitting 50 or 100 cards. Folks were probably submitting closer to 200, 300, 400 cards at a time, and if enough people are doing this, it can really create a very severe backlog that, you know, PSA or any other grading company just would not have the capacity to grade and process in a timely manner. That's why they started raising prices, because they realized the demand was there, but also to deter people from submitting modern trading cards. Because if you have to pay $30 just to grade the trading card, it eats away at your profit, and that's why I've come to call it deterrent pricing. Because if it's no longer profitable, you're not going to grade modern trading cards, and as a result, you're only going to grade cards that are actually worth getting graded, things that are vintage or things that are very rare, or from the modern sets, you know, the alternate arts or the secret rares, or things that are actually worth spending $30 getting graded, and not just your, you know, Shining Fates other shiny full art that aren't Charizard, because you realize that you're probably going to be at a loss. And that's why if you go on eBay right now, you'll see it's a war zone with graded trading cards, because the market started to cool down and a lot of people were getting returns, and now it's an excellent time to be picking up that kind of stuff. Now, the estimated turnaround time for these value orders is 120 calendar days, and submissions must include a minimum of 20 cards with a declared value of $4.99 per card. So honestly, not terrible. As you can see, that price point there is kind of interesting, because it's going to include some modern trading cards. It's definitely going to exclude many vintage trading cards, especially if they're in played condition or better, because something like a Gold Star Rayquaza or a first edition Charizard, even as like a PSA 1 or 2, are likely $1,000 cards, if not more. So it is interesting. And you can even see, right, it's requiring customers to only submit cards from certain time frames. So there are a bunch of stipulations around this, but the economy at 50 and the value service at 30 are very good indicators that companies are finally wrapping up all of their pandemic era / Pokemon boom era grading, and they're now in a better position to open their doors back up to business. And interestingly enough, the fact that they're giving you 2 price points means it's actually a very significant indicator that, you know, they're prepared to give you lower numbers. Because bear in mind, at a certain point, PSA was only offering a $75 and greater grading tier. So the fact that they opened up 50 is impressive enough because most people are immediately going to go to 50, and then the minute they open 30, you have to assume most folks are also going to be submitting at the $30 price point. And so now we see on 6/16 there was one other update, so effectively immediately you can submit any card issued from 96 to present with the declared value of $4.99 or less in a value submission with no minimum number of cards required. We anticipate value orders of any side being processed in 120 days or less. Now, that's another very important, very interesting note. The reason that is because you would have to have had 20 cards in order to submit, and some people may only have 15 or 20, right? Or 19, not 20, because I can do math. And sometimes at $30 a card, people are not going to want to spend a minimum of $600 on cards just to get 20 cards graded. Interestingly enough, they literally not even a week later made a decision, hey, you can submit one or two, that's fine, we'll take your money as well. Again, another very powerful indicator that PSA and likely other companies are slowly but surely running out of things to do. During the pandemic, they got a ton of cards submitted to them, and as a result, they had to turn away business. Now, a couple years later, they've made all the money they can, they have graded all the trading cards in the backlog, and now, given the downturn of the economy, inflation, the Pokemon card hobby, and many other hobbies, being rid of scalpers and a little bit less hype than usual, what you find is an interesting paradigm where now these grading companies have to find a way to motivate you to go get your trading cards graded. So hey, don't save up 20. If you want to submit 5, that's fine. Go ahead. That's cool. We'll take that. An indicator that they are very likely starting to run out of things to do and will need to find ways to generate business. Which brings me to the last point in today's video. $18 card pricing limited time special. Why is this so important? Well, couple of things to bear in mind. Interestingly enough, this July national special will have any year with a declared value of $1.99 or less. Categories accepted are sports, non-sports, and TCG, so yes, that does include Pokemon. Item types accepted: regular, small-sized cards, modern, memorabilia, and tall boys. Your membership requirement: yes, you do in fact have to have the Collectors Club membership, which you can see there's a hyperlink right here. $100 of access gets you PSA's best prices plus some other random things. You used to get a bag, I forget. And you get the subscription to the magazine. I do have a backpack that they gave me one time when I signed up for it. Go figure. And then, interestingly enough, that $18 pricing is literally on the perks thing. So the estimated turnaround time is 150 calendar days. Declared value must not exceed $1.99 per card. Now, I'll be very candid when I say that a lot of cards are probably going to get submitted within this. Now, $18 is also a very significant price point, and I think it's very important because $18 is the lowest advertised price I have seen for a grading card service in more or less 2 years. The last time I saw a price so low, under $20 for a special, quote unquote, was when you were able to submit to PSA, and it was their bulk service, I believe, and many of the PSA graded returns that I recently got back were a part of that. So I paid $9 a card in order to get those cards graded, and I did get hit with upcharges, and that'll be a separate conversation for a separate day, but $9 was the last real number I kind of knew of. I also know CGC had a bulk submission option that I will throw up on screen right now, but I think what's so impressive about $18 a card is, yeah, the price has doubled, but again, a very powerful indicator of where the overall market is. Like them or not, PSA always gets a ton of business from a lot of collectors who love PSA's grading services. And whether you're a CGC gal, a BGS boy, whatever you choose to be, the genuine truth of the matter is that this July National Special might have just started a bidding war among the grading companies, because at $18 a card with a 20 card minimum, you can submit a ton of cards, and as long as they're under $200 each, you'll get away with it. And you know what? Who cares? Submit anything you want. Genuinely speaking, that's what people are going to do. They're going to submit a ton of stuff and hope it flies under the radar, and if you get hit with the upcharges, so be it. But at least there's a possibility you're going to get away with it. So yeah, you might throw in a few Dark Magician's Girl from Ghosts from the Past 2, or you might throw in a few Charizards from Brilliant Stars, or the alternate arts you've been storing in your ETB box, getting ready to ship out. The benefit is that you can submit them and see what happens, right? They're going to get graded, and worst case, you get hit with an upcharge. Best case, you paid $18 to get that card graded. Now, the interesting thing is that the market does not reflect this price point yet, right? So that is still a significant hurdle if you wanted to get some cards graded, because, not many cards, plus the cost of shipping, plus the cost of the collector club membership, plus everything else, are going to let you break even. You're probably going to have to submit a lot of vintage cards in order to get graded, and guess what? Declared value limit of $199 means you better be submitting cards that fall under that price point, or be prepared to deal with PSA's wrath if they decide to come down harshly on your submission and hit you with a bunch of upcharges. In my experience, they're not terribly awful punitive people, but occasionally they will get you good. More to come on that, hint hint. Anyways, $18 a card, a huge indicator. PSA wants you to submit cards. PSA wants you to know that it's going to take them a little bit of time, but they're super comfortable with that because they're looking for business. And it will not surprise me if at some point in the future, very soon, you see people starting to compete with PSA, CGC, BGS, SGC, starting to lower their prices in order to compete with this, either on a special level or, as I had predicted in the past, on a regular everyday basis. Oh, PSA wants to make it a July National Special at $18 a card? Fine, we'll do $15 every day the rest of the calendar year. And before you know it, we're going to start seeing card grading prices come closer to the numbers and values we were a little bit more used to back before 2020. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. Let me know your thoughts on this topic down below, because grading card prices has been something I have been very keen on. It's something where I know a ton of people have said, oh, it's never going to go back to normal, Ryan. How could that ever happen? Mind you, those are the same, how do I say this nicely? The same very intelligent people who thought it wise to advocate for above MSRP booster boxes for the rest of your life. Fun fact, they are no longer above MSRP, and similarly, it just highlights a fundamental misunderstanding between supply, demand, and the intersection of price point. And I think we're seeing that play out right now. A lot of people were very wrong, and I'm very happy about that, because I don't think it's okay to have a $30 grading bracket unless you're grading a card that's going to be worth a ton of money. And similarly, I do think we will see the return of the $10 or the $15 special for grading your trading cards. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks again, as always, for checking out another video. It feels good to be back. So I appreciate you guys stopping by as always. As I always say, you could have been anywhere on the internet, but you chose to spend some time with me, and that means the world. As I said earlier, leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And thanks again for your viewership as always, friends. We will talk soon. Peace.